Welcome. I am Kristen Poborsky, and today I am going to share with you how to create content with AI in 5 easy steps. I've been using AI to help me generate content now for a while, and I love it. And I'm going to share with you in this episode, in this video, in this podcast, my personal experience using AI so that you too know how to use AI to create content that will help you grow your business. So if you're looking for a way to create content using AI, then I've got you covered. It can be used to create a variety of content, high quality content pieces quickly and easily. And I've actually tested it myself and I love it. So I'm a big fan of it, as you know, of creating AI generated content. And I've actually incorporated it into my content creation process, the same one that I've been using since 2014 to create content. It's one of the things that I pride myself on, is that a lot of the methods that I use to create content are still the same as in 2014. And I will share that when I go through the 5-step process, the ones that I have been using since then. But I pride myself on staying abreast of what are all the hot or the new things or the new ways that I should be creating content. I test them out. Not just for myself, but for my students and my clients' content, so that I know that it works across a variety of niches. This is one of the first things we did back in 2000, I think it was 15. We went from just creating video content for one of my clients, Todd Krieger. And once we took his top performing written content and put it into YouTube videos, it exploded his business. In particular, he has one video over there that we did back in 2015, and it continues to be in his top pieces of content. It's 7 signs that you came from a dysfunctional family, and it's had almost 600,000 views since we did it back in 2015. And every month when I go in and I look for his content, what's there in the top pieces of content? That particular video. So let's dive into what I'm going to cover today. So we're going to be discussing the benefits of AI and how to get started. So the first thing we're going to talk about is how do I get started? So the first part of the process is I always start with a content plan. This is super important that you have a content plan, and not just any content plan's going to do. You need to have a content plan that is well researched. And I've been teaching and using this particular method. I always research and find hot topics, and then we use that to create the content plan. But one of the keys of this is that you want to align your content topics with what you do in your business. And this gives you a way to actually add messaging into your content that allows you to talk about what you do naturally and create a demand for what you're working for. So number 1 is you need a content plan. Number 2 is that what you do next. And because I start pretty much only doing video content, and that is the change. When we started using writing content, right? Back in 2014, 2013, that was the norm. But nowadays you cannot get by with just written content. I have clients that are still resisting it, and guess what? Their results are not that great because they're stuck back in 2013, only wanting to create written content because they just, I don't know. A lot of people have blocks. I had blocks myself before I really got into creating video content. But here's the thing. What happened to me, and I know this for a fact has happened with people who are enrolled in my course, Smart Simple Content Marketing, and also my other mini course, the 12X Content Creation Method. What happens is when you go from just doing written content to creating video content, it changes who you are. It makes you more confident. It helps you. It just changes your persona, And there's just nothing like creating creating video content or audio content for you to be able to reach different audiences, really let them get to know who you are, your voice, what you can do in a way that written content cannot do for your business. So if you want to stop being the best kept secret and start getting known for what you do, you definitely want to start creating video content. So the next thing is that I always say is you want to create a script. So this is where the AI comes in really handy. I have been using an AI content generator. I use AnyWord, and I use that to quickly generate outlines for my content, my script. And in fact, that's what I used for this one. All right. I actually sat down yesterday and I banged out, I think it was 8 or 9 scripts, and it only took about 3 minutes a script. And there's things, I teach this inside my 12X content creation method. I have a signature script, and I have ways of teaching and building these scripts so that they're simply plug and play scripts that you only need to put the outline in, and then you have some things in there that stay the same. So it really saves you time. So for this script, it took me like maybe 3 minutes to generate. And then today I came back, kind of went through my outline and said, you know what, I'm going to change this and that. So I might have spent, probably 10 minutes creating it. Whereas before I was spending closer to 20 minutes. 15 to 20 minutes creating that script. So now I've got it down to less than 10 minutes a script to use AI to help me generate it. Now, when I picked my AI generator, I made sure that I picked that one because it had all the features that I like to have, and it has a broad, a lot of other things that it can do to help me as well. It helps me generate the title. It bases everything off of the keywords. So the keywords are included in my content, which is great because you definitely want to include keywords when you're speaking your content, especially for YouTube. It's integral to part of the YouTube SEO that you speak your keywords in there. So it takes that into consideration when creating the script and everything. Okay. So once I get that script all done, I film it like I'm filming my script here and now. Now you can see I have just this little outline. Yeah, I look down at it just to make sure that I stick with my outline. But the cool thing about using an outline is, you know what? I know my subject. So I only need an outline, and that helps me feel more confident and show up better on video when I'm not reading a script, all right? So I create these short scripts, then I just use it while I'm filming it, okay? Then once I'm done, I have a piece of content that is repurposable. So that means I can take this piece of content and turn it into a podcast. It goes on my YouTube, it goes on my blog, and it goes on my podcast. And why I do that is because those are really good evergreen places for me to put my content that I know will work for me a lot longer than a single post on Instagram. I mean, did you know that the average post on Instagram only lasts 48 hours? And that's only if you're lucky and you have lots of engagement. So, I can just tell you from experience, I get a lot more bang for my money being on my podcast and having my content out on YouTube, and then creating smaller pieces of content that go on to shorts and reels and things like that I use to drive to my longer forms of content. So that's pretty much what I do. Step 5 is I publish it. after I create the video. So again, and that was my bonus I just shared at the end there, was that you want to create shorts. So how I would create a short or a reel or something, I would take one of the talking points and talk about it, because you can really only talk about one point in your content and then tell people that you've got more content on a longer video, a blog post, or a podcast episode, all right? So those are great takeaways that you can use. Now, one of the things I want to share with you now is I have created the Profitable Content Guide, Creator's Guide to AI, which goes through a lot of the tips that I've shared here, plus a lot more on how you can use AI to create content and how to avoid some of the pitfalls. And I didn't even share that here, but I'm going to share that in a couple questions I answer at the end, so you might want to stick around. But I do go over how you should edit your AI. I go into a lot more detail in that guide. So you may want to go grab that. I've included it down below in the notes. If you want to go get started creating AI, it would be a great idea, because that checklist on how to actually edit it and use it and make it your own is going to make all the difference in whether or not you are successful using AI content. Okay, so let's wrap up this video podcast with a couple questions that I really want to answer. These are commonly asked questions that I know a lot of people have about AI. And the first one is, can't AI just create a content plan for me? Now, when I go into any word, I could just type in a keyword and have it generate content ideas for me. But I don't do that. And here's why. Because it may not be finding the most popular topics. So inside my content creation and content marketing and automation course, my Smart Simple one, I teach how to create a content plan that not only has hot topics in it, but it aligns with what you do in your business. So those are key things that AI is not going to know. It is not going to be able to go to these places where it needs to go to see what are the hot topics, what are the keywords that you should be using. You always want to use those kinds of things when you're creating content, because SEO and seeing what the competition is doing out there is super important when you are creating content, so that you're not creating something that no one wants to listen to or to watch or read. And I discovered this back in 2014, and this is one of the principles that we still use today when creating content. Okay, so let's dive into question number 2. And I do go into this in more detail in the Profitable Content Creators Guide to AI, which I have down in the link. But what are some of the things that you should be aware of? What should you be aware of when you use AI to generate your content? Well, the first thing that you want to be aware of, and you'll probably see this right away, is that it does not use the first person when talking. So it's more like textbook. So it's third person. So you're going to want to change that. All right. The next thing is, of course, it doesn't capture your energy, your voice, your stories. So you're going to want to edit it. And again, I've got tips on that inside that AI guide for the Profitable Content Creator. So those are the things that it doesn't do. So you want to pay attention to that. Okay, so that leads me right into the third and final question from today's video podcast. And that is, why can't I just create written content using AI? Well, here's the deal. Again, I've talked about this multiple times over multiple pieces of content. You cannot get away these days with just written content. Now, there are some places that you can use written content, and you do need written content when you post a video on your blog. You do need to have written content around it. But relying on AI written content, again, go back to the first question I answered here. Number one, it doesn't have your voice. It doesn't speak in the first person. It's not conversational. It does not have your stories in it. It doesn't have all of that. So I would shy away from using just generated AI content. You need to make it unique and original using your voice. And one of the easiest ways to do that is to just take an outline and create a video from it. All right. So that is pretty much it for today. Now you know how to use AI to create content and how some of the pitfalls you need to look out for, and why you shouldn't just rely on AI written content. You want to embrace video. And for those of you who want to get that AI guide so that you can create profitable content, I've got that link right down below. And I've got lots more content for you. You can go over to my YouTube channel, or you can head over to my blog at kristenpoborsky.com.